We are recording. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Before we begin, I would entertain a motion to be appointed as the recording secretary this evening. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Bowman, seconded by Tom Wood. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm doing this in absence of Kevin tonight, who can't be here. So I will call roll. Michael, obviously present. Thomas Wood. Meg Bobbin.
Here.
Barb Hebert.
Here.
Charles Costick.
Here.
Kevin is not here. James Coffey.
Here.
At this time, is there anybody wishing to address the public? Seeing none. Again, we continue to make accommodations for the public to engage the town board, obviously using social distancing and protocols for safety of COVID-19. I have nothing to really lay before the board at this time. It's a supervisor's report, so we will advance to resolution number 67. Appointment of Catherine Tolucci as second deputy town clerk and register of vital statistics. Whereas the town clerk, Kevin Patnode, has submitted a letter dated April 21st, 2021, appointing Catherine Tolucci as deputy town clerk and register of vital statistics for the town of Plattsburgh to serve at the pleasure of the town clerk, and therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby accept the appointment of Ms. Tolucci as deputy town clerk and deputy register, and be it further resolved that Ms. Tolucci take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution, and that a copy be put into her personnel file and be one sent to the State Retirement Board, and to be further resolved that this take effect after a background check is complete at a pay rate of $12.50 to be effective April 23rd, 2021, and to be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution to be given to the finance manager. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Meg Bobbin. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Barb Hebert. Any discussion? I would just add, it is noted right now that Kevin is experiencing some health difficulties, and by his request, looking for some support for this office at the moment. So, all right. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote. Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Meg Bobbin.
Yes.
Barb Hebert.
Yes.
Charles Costick.
Yes.
Michael Cashman, yes, and resolution does carry. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry, just got a bunch of different things going.
Can you waive the reading of this one, or do you want to read the whole thing?
I think we could read the whole thing. I know.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's it.
important to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what were we saying?
To read, well, May had mentioned maybe waiving, I said, I think it's important enough to read the whole thing.
Sure. Resolution 68, received the draft zoning amendments and typed to the seeker action notice of the public hearing, referred to the involved agencies. Whereas the town Plattsburgh zoning ordinance provided amendments to ordinances that may be initiated to the town board upon the own motion and through the appointment of a committee for the purpose of amending said ordinance. Whereas a committee duly authorized by the town board, comprised of 2 town councilors, town citizens, and town staff and officials, herein referred to as the committee, was established to prepare the 2019 Town of Plattsburgh Town Center Smart Growth Plan and make recommendations for changes, additions, or modifications to the town zoning ordinance and map. Whereas, after review and discussion of the committee's draft amendments, the town board desires to distribute the April 2021 draft amendments to the town zoning ordinance map and supplemental infrastructure specifications to the appropriate agencies in accordance with Article and the articles and sections listed in the resolution. So the town zoning ordinance hereby acknowledge the town's planning board and zoning board, the Clinton County Planning Board, adjacent municipalities, and Regional State Park Commission. Whereas New York State and the town's zoning ordinance requires that public hearing on proposed amendments to be held in consideration the advisable of amendments in the town zoning ordinance. Whereas Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law and the State Environmental Quality Review Act, Section 8-0113, seeker herein, provides for the review of any actions to determine the effect of said action on the environment, along with any related administrative procedures to the implementation, authorization, or approval of said action. And whereas Part 617.12B-2 of seeker provides the adoption of the changes in the allowable use within the zoning districts affecting 25 or more acres, mandates the proposed amendments to said zoning ordinance and said zoning amendment be defined as type 1 action, which requires specific acts by the town of Plattsburgh prior to the adoption or rejection of said proposed amendments. Whereas determination of the effect of the said action of the environment will be necessary to determine whether draft environmental impact statement, DEIS, is required. And whereas the town of Plattsburgh Town Board is identified as an involved agency in accordance with seeker for the purpose of assessing the effect of the zoning ordinance amendment on the environment and whether or not the effect is significant enough to warrant the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS. Whereas a coordinated review will be conducted, the town of Plattsburgh Planning Board shall request to be designated lead agency. The town board of the town of Plattsburgh, as the project sponsor, is required to review and use EAF to determine the significance of said proposed amendments. Now therefore be it resolved. Resolved that the town board hereby determined that the proposed zoning changes, maps amendments, highway specifications, and stormwater specifications are a type 1 action, and coordination review under seeker will be conducted. And be it further resolved that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board shall notify all involved or interested agencies of the proposed zoning ordinance and map amendments and request to be designated lead agency. And be it further resolved that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby receive and place on file the draft June 2021 amendment zoning ordinance, town center zoning, highway specifications, stormwater specifications, seeker part 1, long form EAF, and supplemental analysis report. And it is further resolved that the town board shall hold a public hearing in relation to the proposed amendments on the zoning ordinance of Town Hall at 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, 12901 on May 13, 2021 at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And be it further resolved that pursuant to the provisions of this article listed, that the town clerk shall cause notice of the time and place and said hearing to be published in the Press Republican, a paper of general circulation in the town of Plattsburgh, as once on or before May 13th, which shall notice also being posted in the town hall and given to necessary adjoining municipalities and the Clinton County Planning Board. As such, other agencies and parties are required by law to be further resolved that the notice of public hearing and a copy of the draft 2021 amendments of the zoning ordinance shall be posted on the town's website, and be further resolved that proposed zoning amendments, maps, and design specifications shall be entered into the meeting minutes as per New York State Law 2265, and be further resolved that a copy of this resolution and attachments be given to the town clerk, planning and zoning departments, the adjacent municipalities, and Clinton County Planning Board and other interested agencies. Is that all I got? All right, thank you. It was on a separate page. Wood.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Caustic. Any discussion?
Will someone be able to get these out?
Yes.
In the office?
Yep.
I just want to say that, you know, the town of Plattsburgh Town Center Smart Road Plan, hard to believe it was in 2019 when the committee convened, but I think our team and supervisor Cashman, we talked about the planning that goes into this, and this is an additional chapter to a comprehensive land use committee document, and then the work that went for this next step. So planning is very important, but 2 years doesn't seem like a very long time, but I just want to planning committee development office and the committee certainly.
and COVID-19 has certainly threw some challenges into it last year, but, you know, to the credit of all involved, everybody leaned in and still kept it moving forward. They could have very easily, you know, let it fall by the wayside and, you know, to be further behind.
Mhm.
But, you know, got it done, and want to thank the professional team here, and, you know, Barb and Tom, who are representative on that, and our PAC committee members. You know, the town of Plattsburgh has a legacy of over 60 years of planning, and we are in many ways leading the region with this, and the smart growth plan, and elements of that are going to allow us to be strong for the next 60 plus years.
Yeah, I'm just planning time because next week there's probably not a meeting, so just getting it done tonight is a good start.
All right,
This zoning code is like a really interesting document that is accessible. You don't have to be an expert to read it and understand that it tells a story, actually.
Yes.
without further ado, I will call for an official roll call. Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg Bauman,
Yes.
Barb Eber,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman, yes. Resolution does carry. This is a traditional work session, so before we go on for considerations for an executive session, we do not have a meeting next week. That's part of, again, the reason that we were passing in consideration of this, to stay on task. Is there anybody seeking to provide any updates or comments for committee reports?
Do you want to do anything with water, ag, or do you want me to, or?
I don't know, maybe just a couple things for the counselors to be aware of. Scott's gonna be putting forth a resolution about hydrants. He's got a handful that need to be replaced, and then he likes to keep some on the shelf as well. There's gonna be a vacancy coming up with the retirement. We're looking on that. Projects are all coming along. I don't know if there's any like major news to report about any of the projects.
No, just everything started back up, the base main replacement, and the lift stations, and Trade Road and Quarry Road are all starting back up with the weather, so.
Tom and I, was liaisons to the tax receiver, very positive feedback. Thank you, Michael. The window that is available to our constituents is well received in terms of being able to transact when the door is locked and they can come to the window and pay those bills. Very positive feedback.
And that was one thing too, I don't remember, I don't know if you have Scott's chart in front of us with the portal, with the payment portal that water wastewater, I forget, there's 250 uses last month, that's something?
259 in there.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, so that's another avenue to pay the water bills, on an online portal, so.
Yeah.
And there has been a steady increase since the inception in the fall, so.
I would just add one thing to that. There is state legislation which allows people to, say, get a break on not paying their bill. And I've talked to Scott about it, and I've talked to Lori Mifflin. So it's quite a complicated thing, and I think we're going to at some juncture have to present a plan to people who aren't paying their bills. And we're pretty much waiving all the interest fees, and I don't know if we can put it back on their land taxes, so it's, I just talked to them today about that in another matter, so that'll be something that has to be worked
So
out.
all the months that they were due, they're gonna come due at the end when they say this is, you have to pay it by such and such a date, so it's gonna be too much for them to pay,
Yeah,
for many.
it is, you're absolutely right, it's a
Well,
problem.
Yeah, that's why they're working out something with.
And a plan that won't penalize people as well.
And he did mention that to us briefly, Jim, yesterday.
Maybe one other thing, just for the other team members to be aware of, we do have two, water employees who are going out for training.
Oh, okay, on the outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's-
Yeah, I think I saw maybe something.
So there will be some travel requests probably.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to travel with
Yeah.
more still to take the test.
And not to mortgage, extra time, but just for the team to understand, you know, with planning community development, we have you know, the solar farms, we develop that local solar law, but one of the things to keep in mind, if you wanna just take that local solar law and dust it off, with some of the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 solar projects have a public environmental benefit, so just to remind colleagues that this is something that is to be thinking about, because it can be used for greenhouse gas reduction, energy efficiency, multimodal transportation, ecological diversity, habitat preservation. So keep in mind that in terms of the public benefit project, it can be used for publicly located electric vehicle charging stations, sidewalks, ecological scenic lands of the town, bus shelters and bike racks, and public parking improvements. So just reminding us, we're doing a good job of our local solar law, so that is something built into the solar funding agreement.
I would entertain going into an executive session, discuss the work history of 3 specific employees. Is there a motion to the effect?
So moved.
Bart Hebert, Chuck Costick, 616, quick roll call, Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg Bobbin,
Yes.
Bart Hebert,
yes.
Chuck Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashner. Just going to shut off the camera and shut the door. Thanks for coming tonight.
Peter? Thanks, Dana, for coming.
Nice to meet you, Dana.
Nice to meet you too.